Hello, listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is not just another headline. This is a chain reaction, a story where war, energy, economy, technology, and your daily life are all connected in a way most people don't even realize. And it starts with one simple question. What happens when the world's biggest gas supplier suddenly gets disrupted for years? Not days, not weeks, but years. Because right now, that's exactly what is happening. In the middle of rising tensions between the United States and Iran, a strike has hit something far more sensitive than military bases, energy infrastructure. Qatar, a small country but a global energy giant, has just taken a hit that could reshape the global economy. And when I say global, I mean it affects America, Europe, Asia, everyone. Because Qatar is not just another country. It supplies nearly 1/5 of the world's liquefied natural gas, and suddenly, about 17% of its export capacity is gone. Just like that. Wiped out, now you might hear. 17% and think it's small, but in global energy terms, this is massive. It's like removing a major artery from the system, and the most shocking part, experts are saying this disruption could last 3 to 5 years. Think about that. 3 to 5 years of reduced supply, which means long-term pressure on prices, long-term uncertainty, and long-term consequences for economies worldwide. And this is where things start getting serious, because energy is not just about fuel. It powers factories. It runs transportation. It keeps homes warm. It drives technology. And when energy supply drops, everything becomes expensive. Electricity bills rise, fuel prices go up, manufacturing costs increase, and ultimately, the common person pays the price, and this is already starting to happen. European gas prices have jumped sharply. Asian buyers are scrambling for alternative supplies, and countries that depend heavily on Qatar, like South Korea, Japan, and parts of Europe, are now in a race against time to secure energy from somewhere else. But here's the problem. There is no easy replacement, because Qatar's LNG is among the cheapest and most reliable in the world, and replacing that supply is not simple, which creates something very dangerous: competition. Countries start bidding against each other, prices rise even faster, and this leads to inflation. Yes, even if inflation was slowing down before, a shock like this can reverse that trend. Now, let's connect this to the United States, because you might be thinking, this is happening far away. How does it affect America? The answer is simple. Global markets are connected. When energy prices rise globally, American companies also face higher costs. Transportation becomes expensive, production slows down, and even if the U.S. produces its own energy, it cannot stay completely isolated from global price movements. And at the same time, Wall Street reacts instantly. Energy stocks go up. Defense stocks go up. But tech and airline stocks take a hit because uncertainty scares investors, and this creates volatility in the market, which affects retirement funds, investments, and savings of millions of Americans. And while all of this is happening, there's another layer that most people are missing. This is not just about gas. This is about strategic control, because the Middle East is not just a region. It's the heart of global energy. And one of the most critical points in this entire system is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage through which a huge portion of the world's oil and gas passes every single day. And right now, that region is under tension. If anything happens there, if shipping gets disrupted, even partially, the impact will not be limited to Qatar. It will hit the entire global supply chain, and experts are already warning that if this conflict escalates, energy exports from the Gulf could slow down drastically, and that is where the situation turns from serious to critical. Because then we are not talking about price increases, we are talking about shortages, and shortages create panic, and panic creates instability, and instability leads to bigger geopolitical shifts, and that brings us to the bigger picture. This is not just an isolated incident. This is part of a larger global shift, where energy is becoming the most powerful weapon, more powerful than traditional military force, because when you control energy, you control economies. And when you disrupt energy, you disrupt stability. And this is exactly what we are witnessing right now. A shift where countries are being forced to rethink their strategies. Some are looking for alternative suppliers. Some are investing in renewable energy. Some are even going back to coal or nuclear options because survival comes first. And this shift could permanently change the global energy map. And now let's bring in another major development. The United States has recently announced a massive energy partnership with India, worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and suddenly, this move starts to make more sense because in a world where traditional supply chains are becoming unstable, countries are building new alliances, new partnerships, new systems to secure their future. And this is happening in real time, right now, while most people are still trying to understand what's going on, and we're still not done, because the impact is not limited to energy and economy. There is also a technological angle. Qatar's facilities don't just produce LNG. They also produce helium, a critical resource used in semiconductor manufacturing, medical equipment, and advanced research. And if helium supply is affected, that creates another chain reaction: chip shortages, technology delays, and increased costs in electronics, which means even your smartphone, your laptop, your internet infrastructure can feel the impact of a conflict happening thousands of miles away. And now ask yourself, how often do we think about these connections? How often do we realize that a single event in one part of the world can ripple across industries, countries, and daily life everywhere? And this is why this story matters, because it's not just about what has already happened. It's about what could happen next. Will the conflict escalate? Will more infrastructure be targeted? Will supply routes be blocked? Or will there be diplomatic efforts to stabilize the situation? Because the next few weeks are critical, and every decision made now will shape the future direction of global stability. And here's the most important part. This is not temporary. 3 to 5 years is a long time, long enough for industries to adapt, for countries to change policies, for new alliances to form. And once those changes happen, they don't easily reverse, which means we could be entering a new era, an era where energy security becomes the top priority, where countries invest heavily in self-dependence, and where global power is defined not just by military strength, but by control over resources. And now let me ask you one final question. Are we witnessing just a crisis, or are we witnessing the beginning of a global transformation? Because if you look closely, this is not just about Qatar, not just about Iran, not just about the United States. This is about the entire world, shifting, adapting, and preparing for what comes next. And the truth is, this story is still unfolding, and what happens next will affect all of us, whether we realize it or not. So stay aware, stay informed, and most importantly, understand the bigger picture, because in today's world, everything is connected, and one disruption can change everything.